This is Sports Talk on TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Good evening, sports fans. This is Sports Talk on TriadSportsCoverage.com, coming to you live from Bibbs Downtown in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. My name is Mike Pettaway, and I'm joined in the booth at the moment with Miss Ellen Richardson.
What's up, what's up?
And then we have a special co-host because Mr. Hodges has a previous engagement with his junior baseball team he's coaching.
Awesome.
We have a special guest host, Mr. Mark Pruitt. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
And Mark was actually a guest of ours.
Yes.
And every now and then I run into him on a football field or a softball field somewhere in the area because he writes some great articles for the Winston-Salem Journal.
Absolutely.
And I think the last time I saw you was a Reagan game, wasn't it?
It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And Reagan football is the topic of our show tonight, and they will be here as soon as Coach McGee gets them off the practice field and can round them all up and head them over here.
That's right. We might just fill this place up with some more football players.
And football players, this time of year, being a football player, and Mark, you go to a lot of high school football games, there just isn't a better atmosphere than a Friday night football game somewhere.
Great. And Reagan's got a great atmosphere for their games. I know Coach McGee's come in and done some really good things, turning that program around. And love seeing the entrance they do every Friday night when they run down the hill, kind of like what Clemson does on their game day. So it's going to be fun to chat with some of the guys tonight. And
you know, the game that that both you and I were at when Glenn High School played over at Reagan, I was impressed after the game in which Reagan really put it to Glenn, but he had them all on one end of the field doing calisthenics, and I mean he runs a real what I would call a disciplinary program where everybody knows their place. They march off the field in double file, and it's just. It's impressive that he's able to get all these young men at that age when they have 1,000 other interests. When they're under his control, then he makes sure that they act like gentlemen and they do the right thing.
Knowing Josh like I've known him, he lives for stuff like this. Known him since he was in high school, well before high school really, and saw him play a couple times in high school, and he had a great career. Went to Salem State, so it doesn't surprise me that he's kind of put his stamp on the program over there. It's good to see. It's refreshing, I think, to have some young blood come into the coaching ranks and get as much out of the kids that he has the last few years. So
it is when you look at these coaches. Of course, I covered Glenn High School quite a bit, and one of the seasoned veteran coaches, Aldine Payne, heads that program, and you probably can't find a better gentleman in coaching an Aldine Payne.
Agreed.
I mean, just absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely.
He's a wonderful human being. He loves his kids. They may not win all the ball games that some of the other schools do, but he cares deeply for his young men on the field. Mm-hmm. But then you look at the other side of that, and you get a young, ambitious coach like Josh McGee, who you could tell that he has that intensity and that passion. And if you don't bring that same thing to the field, you probably won't be on the field very long with Josh coaching.
Right.
And it's infectious. You can see that it rubs off on his players. And that's never a bad thing when you're coaching young people or any people, really.
I know the quarterback over at Reagan, he was our athlete of the week actually after the Glenn game.
Well, it was a good week for him to be.
I'm telling you.
That was, right.
But,
that was a great game from what I could tell.
But watching Jake Easter run the offense, I was really impressed with his poise. He throws strikes to the receivers. He knows when to tuck the ball in and when to throw it away. I mean, he's very mature for a high school athlete. And, of course, he's going to be playing for Old Dominion.
Old Dominion, yeah.
And he probably could have went to most of the school he wanted to around here, but he wanted to go to ODU. And
it's a great school.
He's going to be a great asset to our program. I think it's really interesting when you watch, and you've seen a lot of high school players move on to the next level. Some of them really excel on the field, but, they excel as human beings.
Yes.
And that's something you and I mean, honestly, something we've been seeing on the higher ranks of athletics lately. There's been, you can't hide from it. There's been a lot of negativity this year in several sports, unfortunately. I think doing the things like we're doing, we're getting to meet the newest, more positive, inspirational athletes that hopefully will turn a lot of these sports around, if you could say.
Well, these coaches at the high school and the middle school level, they have to realize what kind of an impact they're going to have on these young athletes.
Exactly.
I'm sure you remember your coaches when you were back in high school, and a lot of times you'll remember one thing that a coach said to you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And every now and then when you have a bad day or something happens, you think, I remember what Coach so-and-so said about that. So athletics plays a big part in the growth of a young person, male or female. And, as long as they perform in the classroom, which is the utmost importance. That's when you go to a school, it means I'm going to get an education.
Absolutely.
But being an athlete, I think it gives you more incentive to perform in the classroom, because when you don't, you won't be on the field on Friday night or on the court on a Tuesday night. So, a lot of people sometimes think that athletics is overblown and schools are just focused on that. But it's the benefits from having a good athletic program that carries on into the different clubs at the school, the classroom performances. It's all. I think it all runs together.
Exactly. I think that it gives a lot of these athletes a lot of focus, and I think especially football, and you two can speak better to this than I can as far as a high school level, but it seems to give a lot of these athletes focus. And I think talking to a lot of athletes, no matter what their chosen sport is, whether or not, they are on the field, on a track, whatever, their chosen sport has given them a sense of focus that helps them in the classroom. Every athlete that I've talked to recently has told me that same thing, and it actually surprises me because of the level of time that you need to play a chosen sport. Let's say, our own Cameron Hutchins, who's played, 4 or 5 sports at a time, and not only that, has excelled in school and helped us out with doing some of her photography and some of her artwork. I mean, it amazes me the level of focus that it gives these athletes.
They definitely learn some time management skills.
That's the truth.
It's time for practice and schoolwork, and so many of the stories that we've written in our section, we ask the kids who are taking AP classes or how do you manage your time? It's like, well, do practice, get home, eat, do homework till midnight, 1 o'clock, and go to bed. And we hear that over and over again with some of these guys, and they have a drive to be successful in not only sports but what they're doing in school. So, and
it also it occupies their time. It keeps them from going off the straight and narrow and doing something that they're going to be sorry for later.
Exactly.
And you've been around a lot of the kids that really excel in athletics, and to see a kid who is destined to play at the next level. And I've got 4 or 5 in mind right now at Glenn that I know are going to play their chosen sport at the next level. But to watch their dedication and watch their practice performance, I mean, you can tell that they're serious about what they're doing.
Exactly.
And they want to get to school and go to college and not only perform on the athletic field but also get a good education. Glenn's got a softball player down at UNCW, Tracy Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
She played at Glenn for 4 years, and I always call her the fastest thing on dirt because she could hit a ground ball to right field, and before the right fielder got it, she'd be standing on third base.
Wow!
and she
must run track and field too.
But she was a softball player, and she impressed UNCW coach and got a full ride scholarship to play softball. And
awesome.
Those kind of things, when they look back, it all started on a field somewhere as probably a 6-year-old kid. I want to play softball, and when they get to that level, not only is it beneficial from an athletic standpoint, but getting a scholarship, as you know, Mark, that's a healthy investment that a school makes on an athlete.
Very much so. I remember being a kid I used to coach in basketball. He invited me to come to his signing day when he signed and signing the papers, and his mother reminded him that this piece of paper that he's signing is worth $264,000 because that was the tuition for 4 years at the school he was going to. And you hear that, it really puts it in perspective really quick.
And you wonder sometimes, you see parents get really really excited, really emotional at ball games. I think, some of them, they're seeing that that's what is the end result if you do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And then you got to think about how many athletes there are and how few of them get to play the next level.
Exactly.
So when you are chosen to play at any college, no matter what level, D3 or NAIA, whatever, there's, for everyone that plays, there's hundreds that said, did not get a chance.
Exactly. And I think that, you've got to have the perfect whatever, that particular coach or that particular team or whomever is looking for. I mean, it may not just be on the field, for instance. It may be off the field. You've got to be ready in all aspects. And if you aren't that exact one that they're looking for, it's like looking for a job. But it's that much more difficult because there's 1,000 where there might be 300 looking for a job. There's, for a particular job, there's about 1,000 for that one position, let's say, on a football team or on a basketball team or what have you. And I think that, I think a lot of these athletes know that are coming up now. And I think these coaches are schooling them on exactly what they need. And not only the coaches, but things like we're doing that's really helping school them in every aspect of what they're going to need, because there's so much more than just being an athlete now that you're going to need to get to the upper echelon level. And now with, a lot of these upper echelons being under so much scrutiny, it's going to be that much tougher.
I was talking to a local soccer coach about one of his players who graduated from high school last year and has moved on to play at Catawba College. And the young man was an outstanding high school soccer player. I mean, he could do miraculous things with a soccer ball. Mm-hmm. But like the coach was telling them, when you get to college, what you think you're good at here, they may not care about that in college. You have got to fit what they want.
Yes, you have to fit their mold.
You may play 6 minutes out of the 90 minutes because that's what they need you for.
Exactly.
And people who can't adjust to that, and Mark, I'm sure you've seen star athletes at high school level go away to a school with big expectations, all the hype and everything to go along with it.
And then reality sets in.
Then they line up on a football field, and there's 130 guys, and they're all state.
Yep.
They were all the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really cares that you set the record rushing at Podunk High School. That you got to show what you can do in college.
I've heard that speech by so many coaches, high school and college, that the kid comes in and everybody on the team was the best player on their team in high school or middle school or in the rec leagues, and it's a little different when you get to the upper levels of high school sports and college, obviously, but it's a good lesson for those. Even if you're really good in high school, you still got to work your tail off to maintain that in college because it's just different.
And you should take that philosophy throughout life. I mean, everything you do has a competitive nature to it. You try to get a job. You try to do whatever. There's a lot of people trying to do the same thing. I was talking to one of the freshmen at one of the local colleges who I'd covered in high school of football, and I said, "What's the biggest difference?" He said, "Well, I found out in a hurry up here, everybody's just as fast, just as big, just as strong, just as determined."
Exactly.
So, you are one of a lot of people, and it's those little, and that's why I think sometimes it's like in the draft and pros, they'll get a free agent kid that nobody wanted because he has more desire because he hasn't got all the accolades. He hasn't been a Heisman Trophy candidate. He's just been somebody that works real hard. And hard work can overcome lack of ability sometimes.
That's right.
A lot of coaches, if you can go out there and work hard for me, you can out-hustle a guy that maybe has a better jump shot or hits a ball further than you do. But if you out-hustle him, you got a good shot of beating him.
That's right.
I've seen those kinds of players too, and some of them realize that high school is probably going to be the end of the road for them, and we've written a lot of those stories too. It's like, I know this is my senior year. I'm going to go all out because what do I have to lose? And I'm probably not going to play anymore after this. So I'm going to make it worth my time, worth my teammates' time, worth my coach's time. And those are fun stories too.
Do you think you've seen, though, a lot of the players that play here as far as high school level, no matter what the team, do you think there's a lot of all-stars within this area that go up to the upper echelon or have a chance to do it?
There's special ones every year in every sport,
right.
And you can identify them fairly quickly. You see it and every school's probably got at least one or two that is going to be that guy that's going to D1 or whatever. And some people might be able to identify it a little earlier than others, but there's no guarantees because then you're looking at injuries, you're looking at grades, you're looking at, what happens if they move away, then what? Right. So that's part of the cycle of any sport is the unknown. You can tell right away somebody's got all the talent in the world, but are they going to hone that for the next 3 or 4 years to get to another level that they want to get to? So, and I've seen plenty of people do that too.
And also you'll see high school athletes that once they finish their senior year, they're through with that sport. Right. I've seen a couple of outstanding softball players that could probably play at most small colleges around this part of North Carolina. Right. But on senior night, when they hung up their spikes, they said, I don't ever want to play softball again. And
interesting.
But that's, some of these kids, today, Mark, if you're out of diapers, you're on a travel team. And
it's year-round, everywhere.
And you play your whole youth life. You're traveling to South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, playing in a weekend tournament, which means your parents make a tremendous investment in your ability to. And most of them say, we are doing it, obviously, to make the kid happy, but, maybe someday they'll get a scholarship.
Right.
You can go down to a softball tournament in Rock Hill, and you'll see 60 or 70 college coaches watching, 300 teams come in from around the Southeast. And they'll pick out a player, and that's where they find the talent. But sometimes that player may say, when I finish this, I don't want to play anymore.
And that's what amazes me, and maybe that's where so many parents, just really try to encourage their children, because once they know what their chosen sport is, and if they've taken it, let's say football, for instance, since tonight is a football show, we're Monday Night Football tonight. So, let's say you've got a kid who's gone from small as Mighty Mites all the way up to, league quarterback for Reagan, let's just say. And that kid decides on his final game, this is my last chance, my last hurrah, I'm done with football after this. What kind of impact is that making on their parents who have put in all that extra time, all that extra everything, who were hoping for a scholarship to college, let's say, for instance, for football?
I think, too, the athletes can recognize where they are ability-wise.
Right.
And they say, is it worth it to me to continue to do this to my body, to my parents?
Right.
If I know that this is kind of the end of the line for me.
Right.
For every great story about the great kid who does work his tail off to get to it, you have the one like you just cited who maybe they just get to a point in their senior year in high school and they're like, I think I'm done. And I've had a great ride, but it's time to pursue something else in life. And that's admirable, too, in a regard.
It definitely
because
is.
You don't want to get to college and then figure out that you're burned out and you don't want to be there, and that's detrimental to team, coach, and everybody else. So.
And then you get some of these athletes who are outstanding in 1 or 2 or 3 sports. And I got a young man in mind that could probably play baseball or football at least a D2 school anywhere in the country.
Right.
But he's got a small frame. Mm-hmm. And he's realizing that if I go up and play the big boys, I don't think my body can take it. But he can play center field with the best of them. So, he's going to choose the baseball route.
Right.
But he's still going to play on Friday nights while he's in high school and enjoy that part of his life. But I think with his size, that's a good decision. Because he was actually chosen as an alternate for the U18 national team. Mm-hmm. That's how good he is.
Right.
But when you look at him, he's just a little tiny guy. But he's quick, fast, but he's found out that, after every game, he says, I get up on Saturday morning, man, I can hardly move.
Yeah.
When you weigh 145 or 50 and you get hit by a 270-pounder like 30 times in a ball game, after a while,
takes a toll.
You say, you know what, I can hit a baseball and not feel that pain, or I can steal second base and not feel that pain.
Well, I think that's something that's interesting that you see in a lot of athletes nowadays, too, is a lot of them are playing more than one sport. And maybe it's so they can choose which one they want to go to or whatever route they want to go to. I mean, look at some of these others that have played a chosen sport, but, hey, they ended up being a reporter. I mean, we see that a lot. I mean, Kenny Beck was playing minor leagues and almost to the major leagues before he decided, okay, I'm going to step down and become a reporter. Of course, he didn't really go all the way that he wanted to, but at the same time, he had another aspiration. So I think a lot of these athletes even maybe are choosing more than one sport just to know that they have something that they can fall back on, or that they have more than one interest and they can go any route they want to.
Or you could be a contestant on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, yeah, why not? Michael's dancing now, and I can personally say that I haven't actually watched the show, but I have watched a YouTube video that I found kind of funny. But, but they'll pull anybody on those shows. No offense, Michael, but, seriously.
Speaking of racing, I know we got a little time before Reagan gets here, but we had a race down at Salisbury this past Saturday. And of course, as you know, we cover that NCQMA, which is a track that Bobby Labonte built to help young folks get started. And I know if you've never been down there, some Saturday when you got a free afternoon, if you drive down there, just sit in the stands and watch these from 5 years old to 16 years old. And we broadcast the races, and when they climb out of the car, I interview them.
Right.
And if you close your eyes, you'll think you're talking to somebody on TV. These kids are so mature.
Yeah.
They really are.
You get an 8-year-old kid telling me that, well, my car was a little bit loose, so we did this to tighten it up a little bit. And I'm thinking, really?
They can hear the NASCAR guys say that on Sundays too.
Yeah.
So.
And then,
they learn so fast. It's amazing.
And I want to thank my sponsors, and they go down the list. What was really funny?
They remember more than these guys out here do.
I'm not going to tell you his driver's name, but he has a sticker, one of my stickers on his car, and they consider me one of their sponsors. And I was interviewing him the other day. He'd won 2 or 3 races. And I said, do you want to thank your mom and dad? He said, well, I want to thank mom and dad. And then he named the dealership. Then he looked at me and says, and y'all.
And y'all. And who are we?
That should be his new sticker.
Let's learn
y'all.
the name. What is our name?
That should be your new sticker, something on his car.
Yeah.
It should be y'all.
Shout out to y'all. We're y'all.
But we were talking about some of the people who have come through that track. Ryan Blaney, who's made a name for himself.
Yes.
One Craftsman truck or a Camping World truck. I was thinking about Craftsman truck from way back.
World.
And
that's all right. They don't sponsor
and
us.
the kid that won the truck this weekend, Cole Custer, he graduated through quarter midget racing.
Yes.
So
we've actually had him on the show as well.
Yep. You need to come down there sometime, and you'll be amazed at there's a lot of passion involved, a lot of screaming and yelling, and the parents.
Yeah, I was going to say from the parents.
But you're used to covering high school and other.
I've seen that passion. Yeah.
There's, if everybody in the stands could just get to call one play in a football game, we'd be undefeated because
everybody would like that.
But it's fun to listen to them, and a lot of times I'm on the sidelines. It's like, wow, I don't know if I could coach listening to the criticism and whatever else goes on because everybody's got an answer,
Yeah, well, that's true. And a lot of the kids that are racing out there, they are family race teams. So mom and dad are both into it, and they're both working on the cars, and they're going to have their opinions, and the kid's going to have their opinion about how the car feels and that kind of thing. But you know what? That actually goes all the way up the ladder.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, I mean, I've been around a number of family race teams, and they all call the shots. So
back in my coaching days, the very first parent meeting we would have after our team had been selected, we gave the speech, right now you all probably consider us the most intelligent people on the planet, but when your child is not playing, we somehow lose that intelligence.
That's right.
And you just have to remind them that there is a greater good for what's going on, and
That's
everybody's learning. So.
And everybody needs their chance to learn. So, if your kid's not on the field all the time, look at it this way. If your kid's on the field all the time, that's another player who's not learning what they want to learn, and they have unlimited time to do so as well.
Well, I can honestly say that what I'm doing now is 100% for kids.
That's right.
I go to these schools,
Absolutely.
I go to these other organizations, and I write articles, take pictures, or bring them on the show. And I ignore a lot of the outside influences.
Right.
Because, and I get between arguments sometimes, and I refuse to take sides.
Right,
because
it's not going to benefit at all.
But, and the kids could care less that mom is mad at his mom. They're going to play, and they're going to enjoy themselves. And one thing we always say at our quarter midget racetrack is maybe the parents ought to step aside and watch the kids for a couple hours and learn how to be an adult.
Yeah.
Which does happen. You want to go to a commercial, Mr. Producer, so we can pay a couple bills here while we're waiting for the Reagan Raiders?
That's right.
Hey, this is Leonard Burton, varsity basketball player from Winston-Salem Christian School. You're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Hey, it's Big E, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions, Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western. We're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your Bibbs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at BibbsDowntown.com.
Is your business going to die alone? Never meet the customers of its dreams? Just sit on the couch crying into a carton of ice cream while other businesses are out there thriving? New Expression can help. Without the right marketing, you're a wallflower. Without a great website, you're not going to turn heads. And without social media, you don't even have a friend to tell people what a great personality you have. New Expression can give your business a total brand makeover and get you out there, attracting customers. It used to be about who had the biggest ad in the phone book. Today, customers hit the web to locate and research before they call. If Google isn't steering customers to your site or they're not impressed by what they see, you're missing out. New Expression does web design and can provide a free analysis to see how your site stacks up against the competition. Don't have time to constantly update social media? Want cool custom apps and graphics? New Expression can help there too. From print design to mobile marketing to online presence to brand identity, New Expression can help you express yourself. Find out more at nuexpression.com.
And we are back live at Bibbs Downtown, where the barbecue here is not Eastern.
It's not Western.
It's
Western.
all right.
We got it. We got it right.
First time co-host.
I remember that from the last time I was here. And
He's better than me.
I was down here about 2 Fridays ago to help ring in my birthday. And
happy birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, happy birthday. I had one of those things over the weekend, too. And I want to
somebody didn't say happy birthday to
I want to say I
sorry.
appreciate all the well wishes I got.
Happy birthday,
either through emails or social media, and I had some cards. And, sometimes you forget that there are some people out there that actually care about you and like you a lot.
Hey, happy birthday, Mike. We care about you.
Well, all my friends wish me happy birthday, Ellen. Every friend I got wished me happy birthday. But we did get a word while we were on break from a Reagan parent that they are on the way over here.
That's right.
I don't know if they're all coming in a bus or how they're going, or if they've got
are they going to run
do
us
they
over?
have a school helicopter? Do we know, or they just?
Oh, if they do, I want to ride. And how are they going to fit them all in a helicopter? Because that would be interesting. It'd be like a clown helicopter or what?
Probably. But it's going to be an interesting evening because they do have a lot of great athletes.
That's right.
One of their athletes who actually plays JV and varsity football, his name is Adam Warren. And I covered him in middle school. At that time it was called First Assembly Christian School. Now it's Winston-Salem Christian School. Mm-hmm. And he was a dominant basketball player.
Interesting.
And I mean really dominant.
Right.
And of course they didn't have a high school at that time, which they do now, but Adam chose to go to Reagan once he left 8th grade at Winston-Salem Christian. Mm-hmm. But I was really impressed with that young man when I covered him. He was in 7th and 8th grade. Mm-hmm. Not just his ability to play basketball, but, sometimes, and I don't know if you do this, Mark, as a media person, and I cover a couple schools pretty intently, and I get to see a side of the programs, the athletes, the administration, the coaches, that maybe the average person. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I go out and share it with the whole world, but you really see how you size up a young athlete. It's when the spotlight is not on, how are they around other people? Yep. How do they treat their teammates? How respectful are they to someone like you or I who, and I can probably name 50 of them that I would take anywhere in the world because they're just such nice young people, young women, young men that really understand what their purpose is in life, and they know that what they're doing now is, they've got a whole adult life ahead of them, and they need to get off on the right foot. And I know sometimes if you're like on the sideline of a football game and one of the players makes a bad mistake, like dropping a fumble or doing something silly, offsides, And when they come off the field, and to watch how their teammates come over and try to cheer them up. You know, I got a story for I was covering Little League baseball, and this young man he's an absolute wonderful young man. The team that he played on was pretty good, but one of the kids struck out and cost him the ball game. I get the bases loaded, and this kid struck out with the bat on his shoulder, and he got pretty much yelled at by his dad, a coach, and of course he broke down.
Right.
And they had to go across to the complex to do their next game in about an hour, and I saw this kid sitting in the next dugout where he was going to be, and this other young man that I'm really impressed with was down in front of him on one knee, consoling him and talked to him like he was 30 years old. And I'm sitting there, I got tears in my eyes, his mom's crying, watching this young man at 12 or 13 years old see what the hurt was on this young man and tried to make it feel better. So that's the kind of person I think is going to be successful no matter what he chooses to do.
Absolutely.
Because he is a good athlete, but he's a much better person than he is an athlete. And you've seen a lot of those in some of the schools you covered, like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, lots of... And I think that kind of goes back to the bond you have as teammates, too. Yes. Everybody kind of takes responsibility. It's a collective responsibility, and you hear the loyalty, you hear I've got your back, and it's very true, especially in well-coached teams or well-run organizations. You get that, you see that a whole lot, and it's always, for me, it's always great when we're doing our stories with the Journal in our Sports Extra section. You see those kids that are extra focused on not just what they're doing on the field, but what they do off the field, or how they're impacting their communities or their church or their civic groups that they're in. Or I love to tell those stories. I love to share those stories, to share the focus of the kid, of what they're doing when they're not playing. Because as you said, you see that. If you're out in the public and you see a kid that's doing something that they're not, it's not them on the basketball court and it's not them on the football field. They're helping an older lady put their groceries in their car or something. It's nice and heartwarming to see that.
For example, last Friday I broadcast a football game, and I had a bunch of equipment I had to haul up, 40 steps up a concrete stadium, and I didn't have to carry anything. The two quarterbacks of that team,
of course they did, because they're awesome.
They jumped up out of the coach's office.
How about that?
And they said, "Let me help you." And they call me Mr. Petaway, which makes me feel old. but you know, it's like there's nothing wrong with being nice to your fellow human being. I mean, it goes a long ways, and that's why teamwork, everybody pulling for each other, is, to me, makes you more successful than if you have a bunch of individuals that say it's all about me.
That's right.
And you see it in every sport that sometimes a kid doesn't realize. A football team has 11 players on the field.
That's right.
And you're not going to make any difference just because you don't do something. There's going to be other people who are going to help you. So, but it's interesting to cover the young folks. And I really get a kick out of the real younger ones that I talk to, because in racing is in my opinion, is just a whole different game. I mean, it's so much. There's much more involved in it, and I certainly admire all these young athletes.
There's still a team,
but I have a real special place in my heart for these young men and women that race these little cars, because there's so much more going on in their little brains at that time.
That's right.
And they all want to win, and they all talk about. But what's really gratifying is you'll be standing over where they get out of the scale house after they race, and the last car across the scale is always the guy that won because he did his victory lap.
Right.
And no matter what happened in those 35 laps, you'll see all those kids come over and reach in the car and say, "Good job."
Exactly.
And
they're all excited.
That's what brings you back there every week to do that, because you see these kids acting so mature, and they'll say, "I wanted to beat him so bad. But, hey, good job, man. You won."
That's right. I'll get it next time. At least you got one, and that's a good thing.
And maybe that should carry on to the higher ranks of racing sometimes.
I think it should reach on to the higher ranks of every sport.
Every sport.
Yes, I think we're struggling on the higher levels of every sport right now. And unfortunately, It's getting more me than it is team. But I think the ones that you are seeing successful on any upper echelon team right now are the ones that are willing to work together as a team. I mean, I saw it yesterday watching the NFL. The ones that succeeded were the teams that were coming together as one. The teams that chose to fight and just chose to not really be there for each other were the teams that were losing.
I'm going to ask Mark a question about loyalty to a school, a pro team, anything. Do you see in the last, maybe 10 years how things have changed? Because when I was growing up, I could recite the Yankee lineup because every day that was the New York Yankees. I could tell you the Washington Redskins backfield and line because that's. But now it seems by the time you get your first pair of socks started, you change teams somewhere.
That's right.
Free agency, everybody chasing the dollar bill, and that's fine. I understand it's their livelihood and they need to get paid. But yeah, gone are the days, I think, where you have Cal Ripkins or Jeter, as an example, the last 20 years with one team, especially in the NFL. It seems there's a lot of movement. You got the elite players. I mean, when Peyton Manning leaves Indianapolis, I think that's
the whole city fell apart.
Yeah.
That team is just now overcoming this.
But it's all over now with football, and I understand it. And once they jump to a different team, they've got a new loyalty, and that's what's impressive to me is they try to fit right in with that city, that culture, that team, and they've got a job to do. That's how they treat it. So,
and they're well paid for what they do, but they also bring in a lot of revenue.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's entertainment. You can call it whatever you want to, but it's entertainment.
It's entertainment. All of it is entertainment.
You're competing every dollar is competing for the same entertainment dollar, and it's just like even going a little bit lower to college, where kids, which sometimes this really kind of disturbs me, is a kid will be recruited for whatever sport, and before he's able to graduate high school and get into college, that coach is offered a job across the country.
I despise that.
And all of a sudden, the kid's parents say, "Well, Johnny, he's not there anymore. You're going to get to play. I mean, you're going to really get your scholarship." But again, I guess they're trying to better their lives. But you have a lot riding on when you go out and recruit a class of athletes, and then all of a sudden you turn your back on them.
Exactly. Especially when they put all their faith and loyalty and trust into you. Now they've got to meet someone new. They've got to figure out what that coach wants and what that coach is looking for, other than to obviously win, But, they've got to figure out their playing style and figure out who they are and exactly the kind of role they want them to play. And it's very hard. I mean, people don't always see that. I think that it's very hard on these athletes to learn something new. Even when you jump teams, I don't know if you all agree with me, but, it seems to me when an athlete goes to another team, they've got to learn that team. They've got to learn their maneuvers. They've got to learn, the camaraderie that might already be there among some of the others. And that's hard in a sense. I mean, it happened with Denver. I mean, when Peyton came over, it wasn't instant, okay, we're winning. It wasn't.
Well, sometimes it can rock the boat the reverse way. I know this year with baseball, and the Oakland A's were the best team at the All-Star break.
Exactly.
Correct? And then they traded for Samardzija and John Lester, which on paper probably gave them the best pitching rotation in baseball.
Exactly.
And now what? They're 8 or 9 games out of the AL West behind the Angels, and they're fighting for a spot in the wild card. But everybody knows they're set up for the postseason, but they got to get there.
Exactly.
Well, I'm just going to say that my St. Louis Cardinals are doing pretty good.
Well, they've had their rough seasons too now.
Yeah, but they're winning at the right time.
That's right.
I forgot you were a Cardinals fan.
Oh no, this is going to become a problem among this team tonight.
I have an issue with my other co-host. He's a Red Sox fan, and I told him to start counting the World Series ring that the Cardinals have versus what the Red Sox have.
Yeah.
Now, what is your team? You're a Yankee fan?
No.
Braves?
No.
Oh, God, they're going to sit here and guess all night, guys.
Think Cardinals.
Think Cardinals, but go a different way.
I think I know
exactly.
Royals?
No. Who's the biggest rival for the
Cubs?
Yes, sir. Yes,
you
sir.
are a Cub fan?
Yes,
hey,
you know
everybody's allowed to have whoever their team is.
Next year, my mother-in-law, who's now gone on to better things, but she was a real Cub fan, and she would never give up on them. She was always cheering.
Hey, that's a
then
diehard
when
fan.
her daughter and I moved to St. Louis, and I worked in St. Louis for 9 years, which really made me a Cardinal fan. And as we were going off to the playoffs, her season was over. And we were still cheering for somebody in October.
My season was over back in April, I think. So, but we've got some good young talent coming up, and a lot of them are playing. They brought them up over the course of this season. So I'm excited about how things are sort of shaping up, it looks like, at least. But
Exactly.
Well, I've always kind of pulled for the Cubs, because I just feel sorry for their fans and.
But think about it. Once they do win the World Series, that's going to be the greatest sports story ever. Don't you think?
The greatest sports story ever. It
Don't
would be
you
the
think?
good sports story. I don't know about the greatest sports story ever.
I still think Mr. Cubby was one of the greatest baseball players I ever watched.
Yes.
Ernie Banks. He was.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
Can I tell you my Ernie Banks story?
Oh, God. We're going to be here all night. No, I'm just joking. I'm just picking on you. I give the new guy a hard time.
I don't know, when the Crosby was still in town, they were playing it out of Bermuda Run. One of the first couple years, I was a caddy / marshal for. He was there. Ernie Banks came the first few years. Well, one day we had a rain delay, and everybody kind of ended up. If you had the badge, the right credential, you could go to the clubhouse and have lunch. And well, this one particular day, I was in the clubhouse. I was getting my plate at the buffet, and I turned around, and there's Ernie Banks. I have on a Cubs hat. And he said, "Hello, friend. Would you like to join me for lunch?"
Oh, wow.
Sat down and had lunch for 45 minutes with Ernie Banks.
Now, that is cool.
Let me
That's
tell
a cool
you
story.
how cool that was. I think I was 14, 15 years old at the time.
Oh, my gosh.
You're sitting there the whole time going, oh, my God.
I couldn't talk. I listened, and it was hard for me to get out words. But he was just everything you've heard about him, read about him. Perfect gentleman, nice, funny. I wish they had cell phones back then. I would have gotten a picture with him, but no,
right.
we didn't do that back then.
We had a friend. We lived in Nebraska. He was a former Major League ball player and played actually for the Cardinals back in 50-51. But every year they had a Players Association benefit game for retired players, and they played it at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha when it was still stadium.
World Series, yeah.
And he'd always have us come out there. And of course, we would get, we'd be right with the players. And I got to. He actually called me on the field, and I was talking to Mudcat Grant, to Maury Wills. I mean, these are people, kids that, when I was a kid, I grew up watching them, and I had their baseball cards. And they were just so thrilled that somebody remembered who they were. And then we had the other side of the story where, I can't remember the guy's name. It was Jackie Jensen, but his life has taken a turn for the worse. Back then it was, and he was struggling to make a living.
Yeah.
And we sat there and had a sandwich together, and it was like, you could tell that he didn't feel like that he was a star, but to me, I had a baseball card with his picture on. He was somebody. But those kind of reunions they had they were amazing. And then to be able to get out there and walk on the field with them and get a ball signed by all of them, and they hand it to you, they wow, I wish I was a kid again, Yeah. And baseball was always my sport. I played baseball through 2 years of college, and I grew up from sun up to sundown. I was on a baseball field, just that because we didn't have. I couldn't play other sports because I was too little, and we didn't have all the electronic gadgetry we have today. So you had to go make your own fun.
That's right.
And your parents didn't worry when you left the house.
No,
at 7 o'clock in the morning.
It was safer back then, unfortunately.
I remember those days myself.
I do too.
You'd come back in about dark, and then you would get all your friends in the neighborhood, and you'd play hide and go seek.
That's right. Ooh, flashlight tag.
I mean, it was like, wow. Now, can you imagine getting a group of 20 or 30 kids and saying, now go out and entertain yourselves? What do we do? We got to get my iPhone. We got to get my iPad. We got to do something.
Well, no, that is just not as safe as it used to be. I mean, that's just honest.
I think they're starting to show up from Ronald W. Reagan High School. That's
Mr. Reagan showing up.
That is the head coach right there. He's probably still coaching someone as he's walking over here.
Yeah, it's starting to fill up, so I think we're going to get some football players on here real soon.
We should be having someone show up here quickly. You want to take another commercial while we're waiting?
Hi, Hi, this is Miranda McKinney, Athletic Director at Winston-Salem Christian School, and you're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Today, community means more than the place you live. It's groups of people connected by shared interests and similar experiences. Your yoga class, your work colleagues, your book club. With all the communities in your life, shouldn't there be one for your financial life? We're First Community, financial experts here to work with you on your personal, business, investments, and insurance needs. That's the power of community.
Is your business going to die alone? Never meet the customers of its dreams? Just sit on the couch crying into a carton of ice cream while other businesses are out there thriving? New Expression can help. Without the right marketing, you're a wallflower. Without a great website, you're not going to turn heads. And without social media, you don't even have a friend to tell people what a great personality you have. New Expression can give your business a total brand makeover and get you out there, attracting customers. It used to be about who had the biggest ad in the phone book. Today, customers hit the web to locate and research before they call. If Google isn't steering customers to your site or they're not impressed by what they see, you're missing out. New Expression does web design and can provide a free analysis to see how your site stacks up against the competition. Don't have time to constantly update social media? Want cool custom apps and graphics? New Expression can help there too. From print design to mobile marketing to online presence to brand identity, New Expression can help you express yourself. Find out more at nuexpression.com.
Hey, it's Big E, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions, Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western, we're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your bibs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at BibbsDowntown.com.
We're back live at Bibbs Downtown in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for tonight's episode of Sports Talk. And we have been joined in the broadcast, I guess we call it a table, not a booth. Area. We have the head coach from the Reagan Raiders, Mr. Josh McGee. Welcome to the show again. You were on last year.
Yes, thank
and
you. And
we had so much fun last year. I want to say straight up that I am really impressed with your athletes. I'm impressed with how, because I was at a game this year, as you know, I was impressed with the discipline and how they, you won a game by quite a few points, and yet you had them out doing exercises after the game. Then they march off the field in double. I mean, to me, that's discipline. It's you're teaching them, everybody's equal. And I've been really impressed observing some of the things you do at Reagan High School.
Yeah, well, thank you. We're blessed to have great guys. We have a group of guys who have committed themselves to our program. And discipline is a word that we preach every day, and it's something we focus on. And again, it's a testament to our guys and their character and what they bring to the table. And again, we're fortunate to be able to work with those guys every day.
Now you have a 4-1 record now. Is that
4-1?
And you have a big game this Friday night coming up. Homecoming, I believe you said it was.
It is our homecoming game, and once you start your conference play, every game is big. One thing we preached to our guys today in practice was that at this point, everybody's 0-0. Your non-conference record means nothing at this point. And our goal is to win the CPC, and it starts this week with Davie. And obviously, when you play Davie County, you have to play great for 4 quarters because that's what they're going to do.
You mentioned the CPC. I mean, from top to bottom, you guys have great football teams. I mean, I just saw North Davidson play this past Friday night, and you're just loaded with athletes. Some of them can play 3 or 4 positions. You never know who's going to be doing what.
I would say our conference is one of, if not the toughest conferences in the state. You look across the state at other conferences, and you have really good teams, 1 or 2, but I think ours has 5 really, really good teams that could, I think, on any given Friday, we could each beat each other. And so we're excited about our conference. We're glad that we can now compete in that conference and be talked in with the top guys.
Now, you beat a pretty good ball club this past Friday night, Northwest Guilford, which I see them play in the conference I cover, and they're loaded with talented athletes too, but you guys were able to avenge last year's loss, which I covered. I remember that play at the end of the game when I know you were just
That's that's one of those games where you go back and you don't get much sleep on Friday night. But I feel like that was probably one of the best wins in our program's history. We've had some big wins over the last few years, but I think beating those guys, knowing the tradition that they have, knowing how well they compete in the Big 4A, it was just a great win. And I think what made it even better was we found a way to win when we weren't playing our best. And a lot of times when we don't play well, we tend to find a way to lose pretty easy. But we found a way to win when we weren't at our top.
Josh, known you for a long time.
Yeah.
We go way back.
Yes, we do.
To the backyards of Chris and C.J. Paul and the basketball courts back there. You got the job just fourth year now at Reagan. Mm-hmm. First year you were 3-8. Mm-hmm. Second year you came in, won 8 games, went to the playoffs. First year. I know when you got hired, you talked about changing the culture over there because I think the team had won 11 games or so the first 6 years since it opened in 2005. Was there a turning point where it started to click, where you could see your team maybe from year 1 to year 2, where you could tell they were starting to buy in a little bit?
I don't know if I can put my finger on one thing. I knew with that first year, we started 19 juniors in 2011. And so we knew by starting those young guys it was only going to hopefully create positive chemistry among them. And so when we came back year 2, we brought back 19 starters. Mm-hmm. And so we go from being a very inexperienced team to a very experienced team with a lot of talent. And so I just think things that happened throughout the 2012 season, I think, started changing our culture. Obviously beating West Forsyth for the first time, beating Mount Tabor, winning some pretty big games. I think in itself it just developed the confidence that we could play with anybody. And from there on, it's been about the players. We've had great players. We've had some good kids come to Reagan High School, and we have great coaches. And I think it's just been a collective effort.
And you obviously playing here in town at West Forsyth, you played with Coach Stone, or played for Coach Stone. Played Kermit. You played for Coach Blunt and Winston-Salem State. You've been around some good minds for football. What do you take from the guys that you have played for to kind of develop your own philosophy on what you want to do with your team?
Coach Stone was definitely relationships. The impact that he had on us as players outside of football. He had an invested interest in our lives, and we loved, still do, we love Coach Stone with a passion. And I think because we loved him so much, we played extra hard for him. And so with him, it would be the relationships and the importance of that aspect over just wins and losses. Coach Blunt, it was about hard work and work ethic. Coach Blunt was a worker. Coach would spend countless hours at the job and would do whatever it took to be successful. And so you take those guys, and then for me, it's a guy named Mike Springston. Coach Springston is the head coach at Walkertown. Coach is my number one mentor in football right now. And aside from being a great football coach, he's an even better person. And so you kind of combine all those guys, and then you take the things that I believe in, and this is what you get. And I've been blessed to have been taught by some great people.
And you were an assistant at West, I know, with Coach Snow, and then you were at Reagan for a couple of years too with Coach King when the program started, right?
Yeah, when I came out of Winston, I got a job at Reagan, and I spent 3 years there with Coach King, who's a phenomenal person and a phenomenal football coach. And every day I think about Coach King and the efforts that he put into to start the foundation at Reagan, regardless of how many wins the program had. He started the foundation. He busted his butt every day to put that place in a position to be successful, and unfortunately it didn't happen. So I spent 3 years there, and then my PE job was surplused at Reagan, so I was out of a PE job, moved to Haynes Middle School, and then just made a personal decision that I needed to make a change all the way around, and went with Coach Snow and learned a tremendous amount with him in the couple years I was with him.
You mentioned quite a few coaches' names that are pretty successful on and off the football field, and I know that you say you take a little bit from all of them because it's, some people, I'm really amazed at coaches, and Mark and I both in the media, we see the side of coaches sometimes that the general public may not see, but to see the dedication you guys have, the time and effort. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not a well, when summer comes, I'm going to go to the beach for 3 months. It's a year-round thing, isn't it?
It's tough. And high school football is year-round, just like you said. When we finish in November, we give our guys the month of December off. And then in January, as soon as we come back, we start our off-season lifting program. That runs us through the end of school. And then once school gets out, the following Monday, we go 4 days a week. Some schools go 3, some go 5 in the summer. And so it's a year-round process. And in order to be successful, you got to have players who buy into what you're trying to do and want to put the time in. But also you have to have a group of coaches who also understand that they don't get paid for anything done in the off season. We don't get paid in the summer. We get paid for 3.5 months out of the year. And so you've got to have a group of coaches that understand that we're in the business not for money, but to change kids' lives and hopefully making good football players at the same time.
I find an interesting comment to change people's lives, and football is secondary. And that is, we were having that discussion before you guys showed up about how important athletics is in developing a young person, male or female athlete, how much they can take throughout life. And I know as a former player, and now you're coaching, you bring that to the table that I want to help these young athletes. And expound on that a little bit about how important athletics is to a high school athlete.
Well, within any sport, there's so many life lessons that are learned, but especially in football. You learn discipline, you learn teamwork, you learn work ethic, you learn about being on time, being held accountable. There's so many things outside of football that, these guys, it may happen during the game of football, but 20 years from now, hopefully the things that we teach affect them as men and husbands and fathers, and hopefully we make a positive influence and an impact on their life to where they are great leaders in their families one day.
Now, you've obviously are developing a great program at Reagan, but I got a question that, when you come to practice on Monday, is it different if you won a game Friday or if you've lost a game? What do you do differently? I mean, the kids...
Not one thing.
We
try to
repetition.
We try to stay consistent in everything that we do. And I think you can ask these guys, our Monday practice is always the same. Our Tuesday is always the same. Our Wednesday and our Thursday. And I think by developing consistency, our guys get pretty confident in what we're expecting out of them in practice. They know where they're supposed to be at what time. Everybody kind of uses a period clock now. 10 years ago it was that everything was kept on Coach Blunt's watch, and you blow your whistle and you do the next thing. So we use a period clock, and it helps us stay organized. But no, whether we win or lose, it's come Monday. Whatever happened is in the past. And so we're focused on the new task at hand, and it's a new opportunity every Monday.
Now, we talked a little bit about the CPC and how competitive it's going to be, as it always is. What's your outlook for the Raiders? I mean, I know you want to win every game. I mean, that's why you show up on Friday nights, but there's some tough competition. What's your thoughts on the season coming up?
In all honesty, the goal is to win the conference, and we feel like we can do that. We have 52 players on the team and 14 coaches, and so all of us together, we believe we can win this conference. And so that is the first goal that we have. But it is tough. You look at a team, obviously West Forsyth, returning, however many defensive starters they have, great quarterback, they have great players, great coaching staff. They won the league last year, so obviously they're at the top. Until somebody takes them off, they're at the top. North Davidson is. Coach Holcomb's done a phenomenal job there of developing that into almost a powerhouse in the 4A. And Mount Tabor, Mount Tabor will always be Mount Tabor. Big guys who run really well, that play hard. And then Davie. Davie County is Davie County. Davie's always going to be physical. They have probably one of the best players that you'll see in Cade Carney. And again, a wonderful coaching staff and a wonderful tradition. So it's a battle. I use that word a lot, but that's what that conference is. But make no mistakes about it. Our goal is to win the league, and we feel like we can do that.
You talked about how the conference may be the best one in the state. When you guys go to the playoffs and you meet some of these eastern schools, do you see a little bit of an edge that the western kids may have over those eastern schools?
Last year we were unfortunate to draw Rocky River. So you go to Charlotte. And I think we saw when you go to Charlotte, you see a little bit more speed, a little more athleticism than you would normally see. But I think we believe our area plays good football, and we feel that anybody in our area can go make a splash on the state scene. And so I think it's just a matter of what your philosophy is, what your style is, and then how your style matches up with other areas. But I don't think there's a huge difference anywhere.
Let's go back to your playing days, Josh. You had a standout career at West, and then you walked on at Winston-Salem State, and you got there, and you were, 7th on the depth chart, something like that?
Yeah. Number 7, yeah.
And then basically you worked your way up to the backup position, and then the guy got hurt, and you stepped in and started, the last 6-7 games of the...
Yeah, last 6, and then went into the championship game and got hurt.
Do your kids know now, or your players know, kind of your path, and how is that a lesson to them? That's to kind of your perseverance and your battle.
I think so. If you ask a few guys, they may know about it.
They've read up on Josh McGee.
No, I don't know if they've read up on me. No, but some of our guys who've been with me for 4 years. This is my first 4-year group of kids. So my first year was their first year, a freshman. So all these guys kind of know my background and where I've come from, and some know my story, and some of them like it, some of them probably don't care, but it is a story of perseverance and determination and work ethic. And there were obviously plenty of times when I wanted to shut her down and say, you know what, I'm going to go do something else. But my love for the game kept me going, and I was blessed to have people around me that believed in me and gave me a shot.
Now, John Dell, one of the reporters at the Journal who covered you in college, wanted me to bring up a certain instance that he remembers from your playing days where I believe it was a quarterback draw, and you made it about 60 yards down. Turned on the Jets.
Yes, I did.
You made it 60 yards down the field and were caught by one of the opposing team's defensive linemen. Is there film of that, Josh, that we can share?
I don't know if I don't have it, but it was actually it was a quarterback sneak. We were on our own 1-yard line. And it was one of those deals where just take care of the football, and it just opened, and I was gone. But with about the 50-yard line, I think I cramped up. Something happened, and I remember getting tackled, and then I remember going back in the film, and it was the defensive end that caught me, but he was on the track team at Livingstone. So he was a fast, athletic defensive end.
Okay.
And I cramped up. If I wouldn't have cramped up, I probably would have scored.
He was like Jason Taylor and not Refrigerator Perry.
If I had Jake Easter's speed, he probably wouldn't have caught me. Unfortunately, I don't have that.
So you played for the Rams. Did you ever have any desire to go beyond playing college football?
Oh, I think we all do, but then reality sinks in that A, you're not quite good enough. B, you're not quite big enough. And then C, you go back to you're not quite good enough. And you see those stats all the time about the percentage of college athletes that make it to the professionals, and that's how it is. I was an average quarterback with good players around me. I prided myself on being smart, making good decisions. I had backup quarterbacks that were far more talented than I was physically. So I was an average player, again that wanted to just be smarter than everybody else and know the game and be a coach on the field. And but yeah, going back to your question, I would love to have played in the NFL. I could have been a great fourth-string guy and give people water and be a great practice guy. But
you could wear that Super Bowl ring and get that check
right.
and everything. Man.
God had a different plan, and I firmly believe that I'm doing what I was called to do.
Now, you talk about your perseverance and how you worked your way into a starting position. I suppose you bring that same mentality to the coaching sidelines that, we're not going to give up, guys. We just keep going.
Yeah, and that's what we've preached from day one when we all kind of came in as a staff, that if we were going to change the culture, we had to believe that we could win, and it was a mindset. And so we've worked really hard on changing our guys' mindset to where we truly believe that we can win every game that we play. And so we preach some of those same things every day. And again, we have guys who've bought into it, and a coaching staff who's bought into it, and it's turned into a pretty good program.
Going to bring up any more of his old stories about his?
Man, that was brutal.
I can't believe you're going to put him down like that. I mean, that was.
I was just trying to showcase him as an overall. He was a running quarterback. So Even back then.
For 40 yards, he was running quarterback.
Even back then. So.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Coach, before we have any of your players on, you got quite a gem as a quarterback in Mr. Easter. I mean, when I watch him play, I'm just absolutely amazed at what he can do, how poised he is, and his passes are just on the money. It's unbelievable how that young man has developed to a great quarterback.
Hey, like you said, he's a great player, and we knew when he came in as a freshman, we knew we kind of had something special, and he's worked really hard, and I think he'll be the first to tell you that he has the success he has because he has great people around him. You know, he's got guys who can catch the football, they run great routes. He's got people to block, but he's a great player. And I tell people all the time, he throws probably the best deep ball of any high school quarterback that I've seen or coached. It's just very accurate throwing the football, and you know what people know about him, but what people he runs a 4.3 40. You know, he ran 4.31 at a couple schools, and he's a verbal commit to Old Dominion, which is a perfect fit for him and what he does. But he's a great player. He's fun to coach. He knows exactly what we want to do within our offense, and he gets the ball to people who can make plays, and that's what makes him who he is. And you know, but again, I think he'd be the first to tell you he's got some good ones around him too.
And see, that's a good point too. Is that your players kind of feed off each other. They know how good Jake is. He knows how good his receivers are. And all of a sudden, I always tell these coaches that are not successful that you can build a losing habit or you can build a winning habit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And for the most part, it takes about the same amount of effort. You can learn how to lose just as good as you know how to win.
That's right.
But you get these players that, like you said, they buy into your philosophy, they buy into your program, and then throw in a little bit of talent and a whole lot of passion and desire.
You've got a pretty good combination.
And before you know it, you're going to raise some eyebrows around here.
And our guys are very selfless. You know, with being in a spread offense, you got 4 guys on the field. It's very easy for any of those 4 guys to be selfish and say, "Well, why am I not getting it? Why? Well, we don't have those guys. You know, our guys know their role. They know what we expect, and they do a great job at it."
We're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll have a couple of players on. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
Mr.
we got it.
I'm probably going to have Mr. Pruitt interview the players.
Yeah, there you go.
That great media background he's got.
Can't bring up any Josh McGee stories there.
You know that those are no good stories there.
Hi, this is Alec Hodges, voice of the Winston-Salem Dash, and you're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Today, community means more than the place you live. It's groups of people connected by shared interests and similar experiences. Your yoga class, your work colleagues, your book club. With all the communities in your life, shouldn't there be one for your financial life? We're First Community, financial experts here to work with you on your personal, business, investments, and insurance needs. That's the power of community.
Hey, it's Biggie, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions, Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western, we're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your bibs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at bibsdowntown.com.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk on TriadSportsCoverage.com. This is Mark Pruitt taking over for Mike for a few minutes. With us, Mr. Jake Easter, the quarterback at Reagan High School, and Chandler Belk, who's one of Jake's targets as a wide receiver at Reagan. Welcome, guys. Big game Friday night. It's homecoming.
Yes, sir.
I saw you guys play Glenn a few weeks ago. I think you had 3 touchdowns, 2 running. You caught about 74 passes, I think, for 1,600 yards. Tell me, you've been with the program, been playing varsity now for 2 years.
Yes, sir.
You came in last year and took over for Jay Sean, who led the team to 8 wins his senior year, the most you guys have ever had. What's it like stepping in as the starting quarterback, first of all?
It's a big responsibility. I know McGee asked for a lot out of me, and I feel like I've stepped up a whole lot since I came up as a sophomore. So I've been doing pretty well. I'd say I had to give a lot of a lot of credit to my offensive line and the people that I throw the ball to. So, I mean, it's a big responsibility for sure.
What age were you when you started playing? I guess you played Pop Warner coming up.
Yes, sir.
How old were you when you started?
5 years old.
And how long have you been playing quarterback?
I'd say when I was 8, I started off playing center. Yeah, I started off playing center when I was younger, and then I got moved to quarterback when I was about 8 years old.
What organization did you come up in?
I'm sorry?
What organization did you play for?
Oh, the Forsyth County Broncos.
Broncos.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
What is it about quarterback? What drew you to playing quarterback?
Well, I played baseball when I was younger also, so I could throw the ball pretty well, and I thought maybe a quarterback would be a good spot for me. I mean, I can run pretty good, so I thought it'd be a good fit for me.
Chandler, how long have you been playing football?
I've been playing since I was 9.
Since you were 9, did you come up Pop Warner as well?
Yeah, Pop Warner.
Same team?
I played for the South Fork Panthers. I started off there, and then I ended up playing for the Louisville Titans.
Okay. So how long have you guys been playing together at Reagan? JV, varsity?
Freshman year.
Yep. So y'all developed a pretty good rapport going. Tell me kind of about the bond that you guys have.
We got a great bond. I know exactly where Chandler's going to be on the field at all times. I can just look at him, and we know exactly what's about to happen. So,
yeah, it took a lot of hard work during the offseason to get where we're at.
Chandler, I know we just did a story on you in the Journal last week. You kind of were surprised to find out you were going to be in the starting lineup before your first game last season.
Yeah.
And you've just kind of taken off from there. What's been the key to your development?
You know, I just had to stay humble throughout the season, and a lot of hard work in the off season, and it got me where I was right now.
Davie County Friday night. What challenges did they give you guys?
They got a good front. I think we should be able to beat them deep, but it should be a really close game if we do what we do.
Yeah. The offense you guys run, I guess it's kind of the sexy offense now. A lot of high school programs doing with the spread. You got the receivers out there. How long do you have to make a decision on where the ball is going to go after you get it?
It's really, really quick. You just got to know exactly where you're going to throw it as soon as you get the ball.
Chandler, how about you? What do you look for? The ball's coming out. You know you're the primary target in the set. What do you need to do? What's your job?
Get open. It's the main objective right there is get open.
Coach McGee, you guys, I guess you know some of his backstory. He was a standout quarterback himself. How beneficial has that been to you, knowing that he played the position?
It's been very beneficial to me. McGee has taught me a whole lot in my 4 years at Reagan. He knows exactly what he's doing. When we go out there for games, he knows exactly where to go with the ball every time. And he's just a great coach, good leader for myself. So,
what do you know about his playing career? Anything?
Have
you done any research?
I just know he played at West Forsyth. He says he's pretty good and that he's just as fast as me. So,
there he is. You better don't speak too loud.
Yeah, he was pretty good at Winston-Salem State, I hear. So, he was a good quarterback for sure.
Who'd you look up to, quarterback-wise? Any players that you kind of like to emulate when you're out there?
Definitely Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Russell Wilson's a really good quarterback. He's very poised in the pocket, and when something collapses, he's able to scramble, get a couple yards. He's real smart on the field.
Chandler, what about you? You got any people you look up to, or do you kind of take after?
I look up to Deshaun Jackson for the Redskins.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to play like him.
Even before he was a Redskin, or he hasn't really gotten to do much yet? So.
Yeah, I just look up to him.
You guys, last year, people might have thought you would have taken a step back, losing the senior class you did. The first team that made the playoffs, I think, with Jay Sean and those guys. Do you think you surprised people last year? Did y'all come out with a chip on your shoulder and have something to prove, you think, a little bit?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a big step for us, for sure. A lot of people left, and we needed a lot of people to step up for us, and a lot of people are, for sure.
Anything?
No. Just listening to Jake.
So we got Davie County this week, homecoming. Do you have homecoming interests? Have you asked any ladies to be in the homecoming?
Nah, we're just worried about the game right now.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Main objective.
I think Coach McGee would appreciate that too. Biggest win for you guys, you think, in the last 2 years? What was it?
Mount Tabor.
Definitely Mount Tabor.
Mount Tabor was a big one.
Beating Tabor last year?
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was awesome.
Y'all get amped up, more amped up because it's Tabor, or?
Well, yeah, them and West are probably the most amped up games that we play in, and East. But definitely Tabor last year was crazy.
Yeah.
The last 9 seconds came down and scored was absolutely crazy.
I know, 2 weeks ago you guys played East Forsyth?
Yep.
And everybody talks about you and Carson Sharp probably being the two best quarterbacks in the area right now. And Darian Slade, he's kind of in his own category, I think, too. But tell me what the preparation was like going into that game. I know it was, I think, the first time you guys had a chance to start the season 4-0. Is that right? Tell me about what you were looking forward to with playing East Forsyth, knowing their talent level, too, this year.
I mean, I knew it was going to be a big game, and it's our last chance to play them ever as at Reagan. It was a big preparation week for us. We really had to work hard, but I think we played well. We just kind of let it go in the third quarter, but we fought, and we just didn't come through with the win.
Friday night, you guys had a down-to-the-wire finish. Tell me, or can you describe what it's like to you guys? You weren't in on the play, the field goal attempt from Northwest Guilford. What's it like standing over on the sidelines knowing that you have no clue or no idea or no control over what's going on out there?
It's pretty rough. I was over there just praying for him to miss it, and then he missed it, and we all went crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had my head down on the bench. I didn't even want to watch it, but it was crazy.
And we broke the curse. We never went to WXI, and we finally won the game of the week.
That was the first time you'd been there.
Yep.
Would you guys flip the situation? Would you guys rather be on the field? You're down 3 with less than a minute to go, and you're driving. Is that something that excites you more, that you actually have the ball in your hands and you got a shot?
I mean, I trusted our defense come through, and they came through.
Yeah. Yep.
That's interesting. Do we need to take a break? All right, we're going to take a break. Thank you, Jake Easter. Thank you, Chandler Belt. Good luck Friday night against Davie County.
Thank you for having me.
Is your business going to die alone? Never meet the customers of its dreams? Just sit on the couch crying into a carton of ice cream while other businesses are out there thriving? New Expression can help. Without the right marketing, you're a wallflower. Without a great website, you're not going to turn heads. And without social media, you don't even have a friend to tell people what a great personality you have. New Expression can give your business a total brand makeover and get you out there, attracting customers. It used to be about who had the biggest ad in the phone book. Today, customers hit the web to locate and research before they call. If Google isn't steering customers to your site or they're not impressed by what they see, you're missing out. New Expression does web design and can provide a free analysis to see how your site stacks up against the competition. Don't have time to constantly update social media? Want cool custom apps and graphics? New Expression can help there too. From print design to mobile marketing to online presence to brand identity, New Expression can help you express yourself. Find out more at nuexpression.com.
Hey, it's Biggie, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western. We're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your bibs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at bibsdowntown.com.
Hey, it's Mark Pruitt back at Sports Talk on triadsportscoverage.com, joined by Josh Herron, Troy Smith with the Reagan Raiders. Josh, good to have you. Troy, nice to have you.
Thank
Josh,
you. Thanks for having us.
What position you guys play?
I play right tackle. I play center.
Josh, so we got some offensive linemen here in the trenches.
Sir. Yes, sir.
How conditioned do you need to be to run the offense that you guys run? It is quick. It's hard for me to keep up when I'm in the press box trying to get it all down myself.
Yeah, I mean, we pride our offense on fast pace. So obviously everybody needs to be in a very good condition. I think our linemen, we're in pretty good shape compared to most because of just the nature of our offense and how fast we go and how many plays we can get in a certain amount of time. And it's something important to us is to be in good shape. So we take pride in that. Yeah.
How do you guys simulate that in practice? I know this is kind of something that Coach McGee threw on you, I guess, the start of last season, right? You kind of instituted the new hurry up. What was it like at the beginning of practice last year, trying to get your body's conditioned to get that
it was
fast?
hard.
Yeah.
Especially coming off like a whole spring of not really. I mean, you're weightlifting, but you're not really doing that much.
Yeah.
So you're thrown into it. You just got to do it. You know, you got to go with it. You got to do what coach says, and just got to go with it. You know, so it's hard.
It's always hard the first couple of weeks of practice because you're just not used to it, and you're out in the summer with like the heat, and you're just trying to get as many plays as you can, and like it's just it's a process. You just got to work at it, but it comes, and it becomes like second nature towards the middle of the season.
How much work do you have to do in the off season just to get yourselves ready for the start of football practice in August?
I mean, if you want to be a good player and a good team, then you need to put in a good amount of work in the off season. So I mean that applies for all teams, but especially for us, we've worked a lot on building our strength as a team because we know we have a lot of speed. But this offseason we worked a lot on building our player strength and becoming more explosive. Because
we got a new coach, strength and conditioning coach last year. That's helped a lot, Coach Harbor. Because before that it was just McGee, and no offense to McGee, he's not a strength and conditioning coach. He's still just putting that out there. He's a quarterback coach. You just stick to that. But Coach Harbor's been a real help getting us stronger. More explosive, just combining speed, which we already have, with more power, and it's just helped us a lot.
How many years have you guys played varsity?
This is my first year.
First year for you?
Just my second.
So are you a senior?
Yes, sir.
Junior? Okay. So you kind of were around when the program started to kind of turn around.
Yeah. I'm on the first senior class under Coach McGee.
That's what he said, yeah. First set of guys he's had for 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell me about the lean years then. If you were there before, I guess, the turnaround started when they won 8 games 2 years ago, how much of or what point did you guys start to buy into what Coach McGee was doing?
I bought it immediately my freshman year. I realized that we had a really good team, really big program, a great coach. I knew that he'd lead us in the right directions, and we just have to apply ourselves. And so I've just put forth all the effort I can to become a better teammate and player for our team, and everybody else has too, and it's really worked off.
What's the best part about being on the offensive line? You guys are the underappreciated bunch,
yes,
but you're the ones that kind of drive the engine. So
we get no glory, but we do all the work. I'd say the best part is probably you do all the work, you get no glory. I mean, I leave those up to the quarterbacks, the receivers. I like being behind the scenes, doing all the dirty work. So that's just my personality. I like doing that. So
it's just where I play best. So wherever I play, I like it.
You guys been linemen from pretty much since you started playing football?
In Pop Warner, I played linebacker, and I actually tried out for linebacker. And when I first got to Reagan my freshman year, and they told me I was too slow, so they sent me to offensive line. I've stayed there ever since.
So speed test.
Speed test, yeah.
Okay. Friday night, homecoming night, big game, first conference game too, right?
Yes, sir.
What's Davey? Have y'all watched film yet on Davey?
We did today earlier.
What'd you guys see, and what are the keys you think to getting the W Friday night?
They're a good team. They have some good players. They have good size, good speed. I think if we just go out and we execute and we run our tempo and our defense plays well, then I think we'll come out with a win. Yeah.
They got a lot of young guys. I saw they have a freshman starting on the defensive line. They have a couple sophomores too. They're really young, but I don't want to underestimate them. They're still 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1. They kind of turned around. I think they struggled a little bit last year with the new coach coming in.
Yeah, so we're not taking them lightly. Definitely, we know they're a good team, and we just got. I think our biggest problem so far has been execution. I think we know what we're doing, but as far as executing, I think that's been our biggest problem. We just got to work on that.
During practice, Is there a favorite drill you guys run, or something you have to do every day that everybody enjoys doing? Besides the end of practice?
Yeah, that's a fun part too.
I enjoy just going team scrimmage, the offense versus defense, because I guess it's most similar to a game situation.
Right. Yeah.
And I just enjoy that setting and competing. I enjoy anything that has to where I have to compete against someone else.
I like one-on-ones especially, just to test what you got. It's kind of, for an offensive lineman, 101, so you're at a disadvantage because it's a defensive drill.
Mm-hmm.
But I like when I beat the defensive lineman because it just you get a rush of adrenaline and you just feel really good about yourself. So I like that.
As the center, tell me the pressure. Is there any added pressure on you in getting the ball back to Jake in a timely manner?
There probably is. Are you
calling the reads on offense too?
Yeah.
Are you helping set?
Yeah, I help. Like if they run like a 3-man front, I call out that. If they run a 4-man front, I call out that. But as far as pressure, there's probably pressure. I don't know. I try to zone all that out. My freshman year when I played center, all I thought about was just getting it back there. Right. I've gotten to the point where I don't really think about it now. It's become second nature. Okay. So, yes. Yeah.
I always wondered that. They're interesting to me, especially as quickly as you guys do things on offense. What you don't have a lot of time to process. Okay, how far back there is he, and how far do I need to throw this thing?
Yeah. He tries. I think he has a set distance. He's always back. I trust him. If it's not the best snap in the world, I trust him to go get it. Last Friday I didn't have. I had a couple bad snaps, but he went and got it, and I just throw it back there. Hope he catches it. If he doesn't, we'll live with it and go on to the next play.
Have you ever been in on a tackle-eligible play? Has that been called for you? Has your number been called yet during a game?
I wish.
Is there trust in you that you can catch the 2-yard little fade route in the end zone or something?
Sophomore year.
I used to play tight end, but it doesn't really fit well with our offense, so I had to switch to somewhere else so I'd play. So I went back to my roots at the O-line and play right tackle, and I really enjoy it. But I wouldn't mind to play like that.
The only tackling we do is when Jake throws an interception. That's really it. Which it doesn't happen a lot, Jake.
Right. All right. Josh Herron, Troy Smith, thank you guys very much. Good luck Friday night against Davie County.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Biggie, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions, Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western. We're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your Bibbs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at bibsdowntown.com.
Today, community means more than the place you live. It's groups of people connected by shared interests and similar experiences. Your yoga class, your work colleagues, your book club. With all the communities in your life, shouldn't there be one for your financial life? We're First Community, financial experts here to work with you on your personal, business, investments, and insurance needs. That's the power of community.
All right, Mark Pruitt back. Sports Talk on triadsportscoverage.com. Joined now by Luke Hall and TJ Griffin, also Reagan Raiders. Good to see you guys.
Nice to see you too. Good to see you too.
How's the season going so far for you guys? 4-1, off to a great year, got a great start. One blemish on it. Big game Friday night. How we doing?
We did great. We executed pretty well. Doing a lot better. We're progressing as the season goes, and as it goes on, we're learning more and bonding more and getting chemistry as a team. So we're learning each other.
TJ, what position you play?
I play running back.
Running back, and Luke?
Tackle.
So you help make the holes for him.
Yes, sir. Try to. Yeah.
TJ, a lot of what we've talked about so far with Jake and Chandler, you guys have a pretty run or pass-oriented offense. But I know I got your number called a few times. I covered you guys against Glenn a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Tell me what it's like as a running back in a passing offense. What's your focus to help your team do what they need to do?
Make the most out of it when I get my number called, whether they got me pass blocking or I'm out on a route. Whatever I do to help the team, or if they send me on a different type of route, then I'm going to affect in any way possible. And when we can run the ball, when that's part of the game plan or something, that's what we'll do.
Luke, tell me about your role. Are you left tackle, right tackle?
Left tackle.
So you're on the blind side.
Yes, sir.
How much do you relish that role? And tell me about kind of your experience with it.
It's definitely a nice spot. I like it a lot. I didn't start the first 2 games, but I've been trying to work my way up and do as much as I can. I just try and protect Jake so he can bomb it, throw it short, or hand it off, whatever I can do.
What year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore,
yes,
so
sir.
you're younger. What year are you, Tia?
Senior.
So you've been with the program for 4 years. Tell me kind of what the impact it's been with Coach McGee there. He's really turned things around since he got there and kind of created that winning culture.
Yeah, I moved here halfway through my freshman year, so I did off-season workouts with them, but I've been here for the rest of my years, and it's been great. He's a great coach. He really cares about the players, and he looks out for our best interest, and he's willing to help with anything, and it's really helped build a great program.
And the system that he's running right now, how beneficial is that to you? How much do you enjoy being in it? And
I love being in it, man. It's great because you built a bonding relationship. That's how you build chemistry with the players, and it's been great 3 years.
Tell me about your role then. As you protect him as fast as things go. How difficult is it for you to keep up, or how are you trained to do that, and then to get ready for that next play too, because it happens so fast?
Yeah, it's definitely almost, I wouldn't say easier, but it's just a different way of blocking because it does go so fast. We condition, so that helps a lot. But after the play's over, you just get to the ball as quick as you can, get set, and wait for the call.
Something that you guys work on every day, I would imagine, would be your conditioning. What kind of fun, and by fun I mean not fun, drills do you guys do to get yourselves ready?
Just post practice running, just sprints, and then we have tempo plays that speed up the tempo to get the defense disoriented. So on some days we do that, and we will run a play and then sprint and then come back and run it again.
So as a sophomore, did you play JV last year?
Yes, sir.
And this year, were you moved up? Did somebody get hurt, or?
No,
Did you just kind of assume the role the first 2 games?
Yeah, I guess so.
Friday night, big game, Davie County, homecoming. First conference game. Tell me what your outlook is. You guys have watched film, I understand already. What have you seen on film? What do you need to do to beat Davie County Friday night?
Really just execute and stick to the game plan, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, if we do what we can do, I'm thinking we'll come out with a W.
How long have you guys been playing football? What did you start playing?
I started in, I want to say 2nd grade.
Wow.
And I think I played 6 or 7 years.
Always been offensive lineman, defensive lineman?
Oh, yeah. O-line.
That's fun. What's your favorite part about being an offensive lineman? Because you don't get a lot of the glory, obviously.
Yeah, it's whenever you make a block for a score or block and we score, you might not get the glory, but inside you get the glory.
What kind of appreciation do the running backs or the wide receivers have for these guys? Is there something that you do to acknowledge their efforts after you score? Or?
Well, get to the bench and you just high-five them all, really. Just let them know that you actually know what they're doing and you're not just shove them to the side. You actually appreciate what they're doing because their job's one of the hardest on the field.
What's the best part with playing under Coach McGee? You guys, he was a pretty accomplished player around here himself, had a good career in college. How much of a benefit is that to know that the guy you're playing for played himself and had a pretty good career doing it?
It's fun. It's real fun. Because, if it's not no fun, then you're not. If you don't love doing it, then you're not having no fun. And if you're not having fun, why are you doing it in the first place? And he makes it fun for us. Like, it just helps. We're playing football, but he's also helped us build character. help us build this for the long run. So it's not just about football. In the future, we know how to conduct ourselves, and because we're always representing Reagan.
So he's not only teaching you what to do on the field, but off the field as well.
Yeah.
What kinds of things are you guys involved with off the field? And when you're not doing football, what do you like to do?
I work on the weekends, so
that's good.
Yeah, movie theater.
Okay. You got anything? Not
right,
yet?
Right now, I don't really
football,
do anything.
Football.
Yeah, football studies. That's about it.
And that's important too. So, all right. Well, guys, I appreciate you stopping by tonight. Good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right. Thank you.
Is your business going to die alone? Never meet the customers of its dreams? Just sit on the couch crying into a carton of ice cream while other businesses are out there thriving? New Expression can help. Without the right marketing, you're a wallflower. Without a great website, you're not going to turn heads. And without social media, you don't even have a friend to tell people what a great personality you have. New Expression can give your business a total brand makeover and get you out there, attracting customers. It used to be about who had the biggest ad in the phone book. Today, customers hit the web to locate and research before they call. If Google isn't steering customers to your site or they're not impressed by what they see, you're missing out. New Expression does web design and can provide a free analysis to see how your site stacks up against the competition. Don't have time to constantly update social media? Want cool custom apps and graphics? New Expression can help there too. From print design to mobile marketing to online presence to brand identity, New Expression can help you express yourself. Find out more at nuexpression.com.
All right, Mark Pruitt here, back Sports Talk on TriadSportsCoverage.com, joined by Chamberlain Russell and Rafael Carter, Reagan football players. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, too.
Nice to see you.
Big, deep voice, Philadelphia 76ers. Allen Iverson fan?
Nah, it's just
getting out of practice.
Wilt Chamberlain. It's the name on
We're
the
talking
ball.
about practice, man.
There you go. Namesake. On aboard. Tell me, guys, Friday night, big game, homecoming, first CPC game of the season.
All right.
First day of practice today. Prepare for that.
Oh, yes, sir.
What guys did you see? What did you see on film? What do you guys need to do to take care of Davey Friday night?
They're not as big as most teams, but they got speed behind them. So they got to get ready for that.
You guys are pretty fast too. I've seen.
Well, yeah, but last week with the offensive line, we played against a big, strong, physical team, and it's actually the exact opposite this week. They're small and fast, so got to get used to that now.
Chamberlain, what position do you play?
I played left guard and left tackle.
Okay, and Rafael?
Slot.
And I saw you catch a touchdown pass against Glenn a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? I think you scored the first one of the game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell me how exciting it is for you to be in this offense where you know you're going to be getting the ball thrown to you a bunch during the game.
Well, I mean, coming from West where they don't pass much, it's a big change for me. So, I mean, I like it a lot.
Did you transfer in this year?
Yes, sir.
And what have you noticed? What's different about what you did last year? Because you were on a pretty good team last year at West Forsyth. What's the change has been so far, other than that you like getting the ball a little bit more?
Tempo is a big key in the different teams. The tempo, like, excites me in the game. And at West, it's kind of dead, so I don't make as many big plays that I used to make.
Conditioning-wise, you're a big guy. How big are you?
6'5", 340.
340. That's a nice size lineman, and you got to be really fast out there on the field.
Yeah.
How in the world? What are some things that you do to get yourself ready to play this hurry up offense that you guys play?
We condition. We condition a lot, and it helps us out. It's when the defense is on the other team, they get tired. We're just warming up. It's really easy for us, but it's hard for us at the same time. At practice, it's hard for us getting through it, but in game time, it shows.
Is it different conditioning for Reagan than it was for West last year, right there?
Yes, at West, we didn't condition much, believe it or not. I mean, it was a big change. I had to prepare myself.
What was so enticing about coming into Reagan this season? What made you decide to transfer over?
I was originally in a Reagan district to begin with, but I wanted to play over with Coach Snow. But I guess that changed.
Sure. Okay. You getting your pictures taken? I see. That's good. Okay. Don't have me in it because it really loses value pretty instantly. What year are you?
I'm a junior.
Junior, and you're a
Junior.
Junior. So you're both. So you'll be there another year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me kind of what the process has been with the change of culture that's come into the school with Coach McGee kind of coming in and kind of turning the direction around. I mean, it used to be, I guess when they first opened, they were kind of the doormat. Everybody kind of expected that to be an automatic W on Friday night. Now that's not the case.
Yeah, well, with me being there all 3 years, it's you could tell the difference between my freshman year because, when teams came to play us, they thought they were going to win automatically. And ever since last year, they started seeing the challenge and stuff. So now we're actually becoming a team that people look at, too, on their schedules. So,
how hard is it, Raythel? How hard is it coming into a situation like this? Where you came in from a good team last year that beat Reagan last year, and now you're playing for Reagan. How hard is it to come in and kind of fit in with the new guys?
It's pretty hard, but they welcomed me in, brought me in like a brother. We're pretty close now on the team. So I mean, we instantly bond due to camp. The way we work so hard at camp.
Well, of course. What kinds of things do you guys do when you're not playing football? Are there any other activities you're involved with at school?
Basketball.
Play basketball too?
Yes, sir.
Do you play basketball too?
Yeah, I did. That's what because I was always too big, I could never play Pop Warner, so it was just that was the only other sport that kept me active. So before high school, I was always too big, over the weight limit, so that's what I played.
Tell me about the rest of the conference. I know it's a one game at a time kind of mentality you guys probably have, but you guys play in one of the toughest leagues in the state year in, year out, and it looks like everybody's West is good again. Tabor's back to being Tabor, it looks like. North Davidson, Davie. What is the outlook for the rest of the league this year, do you think?
I think we're going to do pretty good. We got a high running offense. Our defense is really good this year. And we're going to do some things in our conference.
What does Raythel bring to the team, do you think, this year?
Raythel, he's a hard runner. Once he gets the ball, it's hard to take him down. And I think he brings leadership to the team and all sorts of things.
What does this guy do for you on offense?
Without the offensive line, there's no play. So, I mean, him blocking up front that's good. I mean, because no offensive line, you don't play.
Yeah, good. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Chamberlain Russell, that's a great name.
Yep.
Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
It was a basketball name.
Yeah. All right. Good luck Friday night, gents. Thanks for coming by.
Yes, sir.
Today, community means more than the place you live. It's groups of people connected by shared interests and similar experiences. Your yoga class, your work colleagues, your book club. With all the communities in your life, shouldn't there be one for your financial life? We're First Community, financial experts here to work with you on your personal, business, investments, and insurance needs. That's the power of community.
Hey, it's Biggie, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions, Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western. We're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your bibs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at bibsdowntown.com.
We are back at Bibbs Downtown, Winston-Salem, and this is Mike Pettaway, not Mark Pruitt. But we had a great time tonight with a real class act football program from Reagan High School. Coach Josh McGee, besides being a great football player, football coach, he's a great young man, and we really enjoyed some of the stories Mark dug up from his past, so we'll see how that goes over in the next few weeks. But it was a great show, a great following. As always, Reagan's fans always follow him. And we had a great great crowd here tonight at Bibbs downtown.
Yeah, they brought a lot of fans with them.
Fans, and they'll be at the football game Friday night cheering them on.
It's one thing that's always, I remember the first Reagan football game I covered right after they opened, and the community support out there is phenomenal. So it's a good situation out there to be in, for sure.
Well, we appreciate Coach McGee bringing on some of these fine athletes. I had the privilege of having Mr. Pruitt interview these athletes because he probably knows more about these young men than I do. He covers a lot of them with his Winston-Salem Journal job with the High School Sports Extra edition they do on Fridays. He's a very capable editor, I might say.
Well, thank you, Mr. Petaway. It's fun to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this.
I appreciate you stepping up and helping us out. We're going to be signing off here. My producer and my public relations person said that we went overtime a little bit, and so we're going to get out of here. How's that? We'll be back on the air. Probably another show will be in October. We don't know exactly when it's going to be or who the guests are going to be, and you're certainly welcome anytime, Mr. Pruitt.
Love to be back.
You're a great co-host. I appreciate it. So for Donnie Baldridge and Ellen Richardson and Mark Pruitt, this is Mike Petaway saying thanks for joining us. Until next time, please stay safe.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition of Sports Talk on Triad Sports Coverage. For more great podcasts, check out the media page on triadsportscoverage.com.